Hi, my name is Energio and welcome to Louder with Energio. If this is your first time here, I want to say a very big welcome to you. Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. I hope to see you every other week. And if you are a returning viewer or listener, I want to say welcome. Thank you. You are the realest MVP. Today, we're going to be touching on the subject of abortion. But just before we get into that, I want to encourage you to like, share, comment. If you have an opinion on this subject, leave it in the comment. I want to read your opinions. I want to hear what you have to say as well. Not just me talking, right? We're creating a community. Share it so that it can reach more people. Like it so that the YouTube algorithm can push it to more people. And of course, subscribe. It helps the channel, okay? It really does help the channel. So let's get right into it. I want to say this before we begin, that I understand how much of a sensitive topic and subject the subject of abortion is. It's one not to be treated with lightness. And in fact, that's the reason that I'm here talking about it today. I want to say that I haven't been in this situation, but I have people who have been. I've heard the stories of a lot of women who have been, and that's why I'm here to shed light. I'm here to shed light on this topic because it is important. It is very, very important and not to be treated with lightness. And I hope and I pray really that I'm able to communicate my heart on this subject. I hope that you see my heart in everything that I say on this subject. This is not judgment. This is not what that is. It is simply to shed light on this subject so that you are very much informed before you make any decision. So if you find yourself pregnant, unplanned, unprepared, whatever the reason may have been, you had sex, unprotected sex, or you were abused, or one reason or another, and it's not a baby that you want, you weren't prepared for this baby, this is for you. All right, this is for you. If you know someone who needs this, please share it with them. You may just be saving a life, okay? Let me start by saying, or continue, or get into my point by saying this. The reason this has become even more important to have a discussion to have is because the woke mob of the world will just tell you that if you're pregnant and you do not want the baby, abort it, and that's the only option. But it's important for us to stand up. It's important for people like me and you to speak up and let people know that this is not the only option. That is not the only available option. There are a number of options, okay? There are a number of options. So they'll come and they'll tell you, oh, you can just abort the baby and that's all. You will not have any ramifications to deal with. There'll be no implications. You were pregnant one moment, you will not be pregnant the next. And that's all that it tells you, but that's not true. By the way, they don't tell you that even after you abort the baby, after the baby is removed, that you still feel pregnant for a while. They don't tell you about all of these things. They make it seem like roses and peaches, and they walk through a garden, but that's not what abortion is. So today I'm going to be using my phone. I'm going to be giving you statistics. I'm using my laptop and my phone at the same time, just so that I can articulate my thoughts very well, okay? So one study found that 44% of women who actually had an abortion regretted their decision to get an abortion. So you may say, oh, that still leaves about 56% of women who did not. But what are the chances that you would not be one of them? And 44% is high a percentage of people who regret doing something, who regret having an abortion. That's a lot. And that's saying something. It's not 10%, it's not 3%, it's not 5%, it's 44%, almost half the people who do it. And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Among their emotional symptoms, women in the study cited depression, feelings of loss, feelings of shame, and even negative feelings when they were around other babies. And this is for 44% of women who have an abortion. There are great ramifications to having an abortion. It's not just a decision that you take lightly, okay? It's not just something that you just say, oh, okay, I'll just do it to be rid of the responsibility or the implications or the ramification of my actions. It's not that at all. It's not all roses. Another one states that 42% of those women said the adverse psychological effects continued for 10 years or more. That's a long time. That's a long time to deal with something. 10 years or more. They carried regrets. They carried the feeling of loss, the feeling of emptiness, the feeling of shame for 10 years or more. That's a lot. And this is something that the woke people will not tell you. They won't come and tell you this. They don't want you to know this. So they won't cite it. They won't tell you that. But this is great. This is deep. This is something to really consider. Some women said they held on to the guilt. One woman here who had her abortion 38 years ago, before this article was written, said she held on to that trauma for 24 years. 24 years, that's a long time. That's great. That's great a time to hold on to a feeling of regret. Beating yourself up. Telling yourself you don't deserve something good because of the bad that you did. And they really don't tell you all of these things, okay? They really don't tell you these things. And these are the stories of women. But these stories are not pushed forward like with every other thing that the woke mob will scream at you. They don't tell you all of these things. Do I have more statistics? Yes. Another thing that they don't tell you is that the year after you have your abortion, that you're more likely to be suicidal. I think the statistics goes up to about 70% of women are more suicidal. About 30 to 40% of them actually attempt suicide. Some of them die, some fatal, others not fatal. They were saved in the nick of time. But that's a great number. That you're more likely, you're 70% more likely to commit suicide if you've had an abortion as a woman than if you hadn't. This is something that they are not talking about. This is something that the media is not talking about enough. And that's why we're here. The implications of abortion is deep. It's not something to just enter into lightly. It's not. I'm going to say this again and again. It's not something to enter into lightly. It's not. Please do not believe the lies that the woke mob, the lies that they are telling. Please do not believe it. All right? It's not all roses. I would repeat this again and again. It's not all roses. That's not how it is. And I say this because I've heard stories of women who are close to me. I've seen how hard it was. Many of them saying if it wasn't for God, I'm not sure they'll be here. That's deep. That's heavy. And I believe that the subject of abortion or abortion itself should be handled with the heaviness that it comes with. It should not be treated lightly. It should not be. So if you're considering an abortion, here are some questions to ask yourself. 1, am I making this decision too quickly? Have I just come to a point where I have decided that this is my only option? Another question to ask yourself, what are my other options? See, let me say this, that there are options for you. I'm going to cite 2 of them now. One of them is the option of adoption. There are people, there are families that are longing for children. There are people who would take that baby off your hands and love and care for that baby the rest of that baby's life. There are people who want babies, who cannot have babies. There are people who have 1 million babies but would take the baby from you and care for that baby and make sure that the baby has a loving home. That's an option to consider, a great option, I dare say, to consider. If you're looking into this option, reach out to people who do this, to adoption agencies. Do your research. Know where your baby is going to. But I want to beg you to choose life. Choose life for this baby. Choose life for yourself. Please. Another option, take the baby to an orphanage. The baby may not have, you may not know, if the baby is going to have the richest life ever. but the baby would have a chance. That child will stand a chance. Do you understand? As opposed to ending the life of the baby, that baby would stand a chance. You don't know what the future of that baby holds, but that baby would have a chance. That baby would have a chance. All right? Give the baby up for adoption. Get the baby to an orphanage home. Give the baby to family members to care for. Guess what? You may, a year down the line, or a few months, not even a year, a few months down the line, you may just change your mind and decide, oh, this baby is the best thing that happened to you. It doesn't matter how the baby came about, whether it was by your doing or the despicable act of someone else. You may just decide, yeah, this baby is the best thing to have happened to me. And even though you may have had a different opinion initially, that could change. That could change. And that's an option that you would only have if you choose life. So I beg you, please, choose life for the baby. Choose life for yourself. Another question to ask. A third question. Will I be able to live with this decision the rest of my life? The decision of abortion. Will I be able to live with it for the rest of my life? These are very important questions to ask. Are you rushing into this decision? What are your options? Will I be able to live with this decision for the rest of my life? I'm just really here. I'm really here to encourage you to choose life. Again, it will be up to you what you do. All right? But I want to beg you. And if this only touches one person and a baby's life is saved and the life of a mother is saved, I'll be glad that I did this. But I want to beg you to choose life, okay? Choose life. Choose life. Don't let the line woke mob lie to you that if you just remove your baby, that's all, that it's gone, you don't have to deal with any ramifications. There are ramifications. And I want to say this. If you've had an abortion and you're listening to me, and you found it very hard to forgive yourself, I want to beg you, please forgive yourself. That's in the past. That's in the past. Please forgive yourself. Move on. That's in the past. That's no longer who you are. I hope so. But that's not who you are. I want to beg you. Forgive yourself. The same way you would forgive a friend. The same grace you would extend to a friend and forgive them for what they did. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much. You did not know better. This is why these podcasts like this exist. That's why platforms like this exist, to educate people. Maybe if you had me, maybe if you had someone else telling you, you'd not have made a decision. And if someone told you and you still made a decision, you still did not know better, please forgive yourself and move on. All right? Please forgive yourself and move on. I hope that even if it's one person, just one person, that this video touches. If it's just one person, I'll be glad. I hope that you know how important this is. I hope you see how important it is. We did not even talk about the medical ramifications. The fact that sometimes many women get infections. Some of them lose their wombs. We've not even talked about that. There are a lot of things involved. There are ramifications. A lot of them, implications as a result of abortion. But I'm not going to bore you and go into all of those things, or I'm not going to continue. I believe you get the point. If you know someone who needs this, please share it with them. If you're someone who needs this, reach out to me. Let's create a community of support, a support system. I'm here for you. Send me a message. Allow me to encourage you. All right? Allow me to encourage you. I know this is hard. It's a hard time. You just have to make a decision. But I want you to weigh all of your options. Look at all of the other options available to you before you choose this one. You may just change your mind down the line. Give it a chance. Choose life. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast today. I really hope that this touches one or two people. I hope that my heart is communicated in this podcast. Everything that's on my heart, I really hope, and honestly, I really do pray that it's communicated. Thank you. I'm going to see you in the next episode. Until the next episode, stay loud. This is Louder with Energio.